This is a course in miracles. It is your path of enlightenment. It is your journey without distance in the space of an instant of reality. It is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. This course does not aim at teaching the meaning of love, for that is beyond what can be taught. It does aim, however, at removing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence, which is your natural inheritance. The opposite of love is fear, but what is all-encompassing can have no opposite. This Course in Miracles can therefore be summed up very simply in this way. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. When you are fearful, you are non-existent. In truth, this fearful world does not exist at all. Herein lies the peace of God. This Course in Miracles presents the inevitable possibility of the eternal singular reality of life. Now to the practice of the transformation of your mind. This, the workbook of A Course in Miracles. A theoretical foundation such as was presented in the text is necessary as a framework to make the exercises that we now intend to begin meaningful. Yet it is doing the exercises that will make the goal of the course possible. An untrained mind can accomplish nothing. This workbook, this provision of training that you are undertaking, is divided into two main sections. First, we're going to deal with the undoing of the way that you see now, and second, with the acquisition of true perception. Here is our purpose. The purpose in what we will perform on this video and in this workbook is to train your mind in a systematic way to a different perception of everyone and everything in the world. Listen, transfer of training in true perception does not proceed as does transfer of the training of the world. If true perception has been achieved in connection with any person, situation, or event, total transfer to everyone and everything is certain. On the other hand, one exception held apart from true perception makes its accomplishment anywhere impossible. The very nature of true perception is that it has no limits. It is the opposite of the way that you see now. In this practice that we are about to begin, some of the lessons you will find hard to believe, and others may seem to be quite startling. This does not matter. You are merely asked to apply the ideas as you are directed to do. You are not asked to judge them at all. You are asked only to use them. It is their use that will give them meaning to you and will show you that they are true. Remember only this. You need not believe the ideas. You need not accept them, and you need not even welcome them. Some of them you may actively resist. None of this will matter or decrease their efficacy. The only thing we ask is that you don't make any exceptions on a moment-by-moment basis as you apply these lessons of this Course in Miracles. Here now begins the mind training. So here you are at last. I've been waiting for you. The progress that you have made in training your mind in a systematic way to a new way of looking at yourself and the world has reached the point, very simply, if you've been sharing with my mind this Course in Miracles, that you're going to have to admit to an experience. Remember that a Course in Miracles is an indication of a procedure where you can come to know the truth of universal mind through the change in yours, since your mind represented the split mind, or the idea that there could be separate forms of reality outside of you. I'd like to take, now that this is video number 6, I'm told, that we finished 135, or that is 35, with the idea that God was in your mind and that you are very holy. And we looked at the impossibility of you accepting that within the frame of reference in which you have identified yourself. The correspondent progress you have made in this has simply been your willingness to allow, in the features of the mind training, you individually as a human being to observe yourself without the particulars of the observation. At this point, I'm going to show you the simplicity of what I've really been offering you, and I would like to have you accept it. When I say that the salvation of the world depends on you, I mean that in a literal sense. You are the cause of this world. Remember the last series that we did when we said that you have invented the world that you see, that the particulars of people out there are obviously and inevitably a reflection of your own self? Is that true? What I'm curious about, and you've accepted it fundamentally, because the lesson more than implies that when you split your own mind, and this is true of all human beings, they hold in themselves an identity of themselves that does not really correspond to the identity that the world has given them, except in an attempt to find a correspondence that would justify their existence in objective reality. I'm sure that this has been said by a lot of so-called psychologists in a lot of ways. The simple fact of the matter is that if you have invented this world within your own concepts, the you that you identify separately within your own mind and were taught to do as a child by the objectivity of the other you that's out there, can only give you a correspondence in relationship with yourself. And that's what it's given you. What we have attempted to do on this mind training is let your old objective correspondence come into your mind in memory patterns where you will not resist the possibility of an entirety of you. And that's what this mind training has brought about in you. And if it hasn't brought it about in you, what are you doing here? My sole purpose for being here is to show you within your own frame of reference a better reflection of yourself. Are you with me with this? I don't know what you think a so-called advanced teacher is, but it's impossible that by any definition a so-called advanced teacher would not be someone who is coming to know who he is. And it's going to have to be based fundamentally on the admission that he doesn't know who he is. That includes how the world defines him as well as how he defines himself. So the early lessons that you have learned within this Course in Miracles, that no matter how you cognify, no matter how you identify yourself, within your own limitations of correspondence in this subjective association are not true. And that somewhere within you, right there, there's an alternative. There's a moment, okay, where the din of your objective association with yourself, which is all it is, okay, is being replaced, remember in the last video, by the peace that you are discovering in a direct contact with universal mind, in a direct contact with God, one that has always been available to you, but because of the intensity of the light that God offers you, you were getting a reflection of your own fear thoughts. And what would be more frightening to you than the total revealing of what's been going on within your own concepts? These have been the mind training videos that we've been doing, as is our practice now, and this is the only sequence that we actually repeat. We're going to go back and take a look at the fundamental premise involved in this mind training that occurs in lesson 7, where we say that you see only the past. Let's take a look. I see only the past. This idea is particularly difficult to believe at first, yet it is the rationale for all of the first 6 lessons that we practice and is the beginning point to a step out of time. It is the reason why nothing that you see means anything. It's the reason why you have given everything you see all the meaning that it has. It is the reason why you do not understand anything you see. It's the reason why your thoughts do not mean anything, and why they are like the things that you see, as meaningless as are you. It's the reason why you're never upset for the reason that you think. That it's the reason why you're upset because you see something that is not there. All because you see only the past. Old ideas about time are very difficult to change because everything you believe is rooted in time and depends on your not learning these new ideas about it. Yet that is precisely why you need new ideas about time. This first-time idea is not really so strange at all if you look at it. Look at this cup. Do you see a cup? Or are you merely reviewing your past experience of picking up a cup, being thirsty, drinking from a cup, feeling the rim of a cup against your lips, having breakfast, and so on? Are not your aesthetic reactions to the cup, too, based on past experiences? How else would you know whether or not this kind of cup will break if you drop it? What do you know about this cup except what you learned in the past? You would have no idea what this cup is except for your past learning. Do you then really see it at all? Look about you. This is equally true of whatever you look at. Everything that you see is always over and gone. Each moment, in all of time, you exist in the entirety of this space, here and now. Now let's catch up to some very late time. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. I see nothing as it is now. My thoughts do not mean anything. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. I'm upset because I see a meaningless world. A meaningless world engenders fear. God did not create a meaningless world. My thoughts are images that I have made. I have no neutral thoughts. I see no neutral things. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my thoughts. I am determined to see. I am determined to see things differently. What I see is a form of vengeance. I can escape from the world I see by giving up my attacked thoughts. I do not perceive my own best interests. I do not know what anything is for. My attack thoughts are attacking my invulnerability. Above all else, I want to see. Above all else, I want to see things differently. God is in everything I see. God is in everything I see because God is in my mind. I am not the victim of the world I see. I have invented the world I see. There is another way of looking at the world. I could see peace instead of this, and my mind is part of God's. I am very holy. So here I am. And just for that moment right there, I showed you a reflection of your old self, because within the particulars of your objective mind, that's what you've been seeing. Now, through this process of illumination, I'm going to attempt, just for a moment, to show you an alternative you. The alternative you that I will show you, is the culmination of the practice of you within your own conceptual self of an alternative that has been available to you. It should be obvious to you at this point that when you objectify formulations of associations within your own mind, you're going to get the result of that formulation. You will believe that I am separate from you. My certainty that I am not separate from you, since I am not separate from anything, is in a literal sense what your salvation is, since I intend to teach through this mind training from my Savior Jesus Christ the certainty that there is only one mind, there is only one self, and that self we share together in this certainty. So the practice that's involved with us now is going to be your determination through non-judgment, through not having to protect yourself from your own reflections, since the you that you are seeing within your own mind is actually the same you that you're seeing out in the world. And when you try to compare the you that you have organized in the defense of yourself with the you that you organize because you are being threatened by this world, or you have found a means to conquer it within your own occupation, are not true. What I'm showing you is an alternative to the choices that you have been making. Let's try it for just a minute now. You were seeing only the past. The excitement that is now beginning to be manifest in you in the sense of a continuing discovery of you will indicate to you that the images that you have made of your dark form concentration on memory, you call it your DNA, have given you reflections of an old situation that literally no longer exists. You listen carefully to me. The minimum that I expect you to do right now is to consider the possibility that right here, right now, at this time, as you identify me, I can give you a better reflection of you. And the reason that I can give you a better reflection of you is that I have a better reflection of myself. The teachings of this course have directed your attention to the certainty that if you objectify an idea in your own mind, it will take on the tolerant association of justification for the object. This is the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, isn't it? By understanding within your mind that you're always uncertain, without the necessity to objectify your own mind, you begin to see in everything that you see much more within your own mind than you thought was possible. And the reason that that is true is very simply that there isn't anything outside of your mind. I know that that has caused you fear. And I know that in this mind training, I am leading you to a place in your own mind where you will no longer attempt to compare the false you of your ego with the false objective you that you maintain in order to justify the association. There's no possibility that what I am offering you will not lead you to a place in space-time where the admission of the entirety of the responsibility for you within your own mind is going to occur. What you have involved yourself in this practice of self-observation is momentary, continuous ideas that, since all of the ideas, all of the thought forms within this apparent space-time reference are actually your own, you've begun to not judge them. When you don't, you lose the conflict of your own self-identity. Remember lesson 135 or lesson 35? We're going to go back and repeat it just for a moment. And it says that God goes with me wherever I go. God is with me because God, the entirety of what I am and what universal mind is in my mind. And that I am reflecting to you the certainty of our individual selves. Let's watch 35. My mind is part of God's. I am very holy. Today's idea does not describe the way you see yourself now. It does, however, describe what vision is now beginning to show you. It is difficult for anyone who thinks he is in this world to believe this about himself. Yet the reason he thinks he is in this world is because he does not believe it. You will believe that you are a part of where you think you are. That is because you surround yourself with the environment that you want, and you want it to protect the image of yourself that you've made. The image is part of this environment. What you see while you believe you are in it, seen through the eyes of the images, is what you think you have become. This is not vision. Images cannot see. The idea for today presents a very different view of yourself. By establishing your source, it establishes your identity, and it describes you as you must really be in truth. We will use a somewhat different kind of application for today's idea because the emphasis for today is on the perceiver rather than on what he perceives. And this is a very important lesson. In my mind is part of God's, I am very holy. For each of the 3 5-minute practice periods today, begin by repeating today's idea to yourself, and then close your eyes and search your mind for the various kinds of descriptive terms in which you see yourself. Include all the ego-based attributes which you ascribe to yourself, positive or negative, desirable or undesirable, grandiose or debased. All of them are equally unreal because you do not look upon yourself through the eyes of holiness. Here's just a partial list, perhaps, of some unselected ideas you might want to apply. I see myself as imposed on. I'm depressed. I'm failing. I'm endangered. I'm helpless. Let's try some positive ones. I'm victorious. I'm charitable. I'm virtuous. I'm losing out. I can't do it. I hate myself. I love myself. But wait a minute. My mind is part of God's. I'm very holy. Why would I persist in all of these ideas about myself, good or bad, when I've come to know through this mind training that none of them mean anything? And they have become meaningless in my certainty that I no longer attempt to establish them within this little infinite maze of nothing. that previously defined what I was. I am very holy. My mind is like that of God's. I will always be as He created me. So my mind is a part of God, and I am very holy. And I'm not sure, within the context of your self-containment, you are very happy about the idea that there's a necessity for you to admit to your own perfection. It's impossible that if you have pursued the mind training that's going on in your conceptual self, that you're not going to have to begin to admit to the joy that you're feeling by not remaining in the conflict of your own conceptual mind. Wouldn't that make you happy? No. Let's try it just for a minute, because this is the promise that I made in this. You are at the time and the place within your own illusion where you have not only asked for the alternative, because you've always asked for it in your own mind, because you've been looking for the solution, but have come to the point where you're making a fundamental admission that within your conceptual self you can't solve the problem. How could you solve the problem within your conceptual self when as that self you actually don't exist? The reflection that you get from the idea of the organizational procedure within yourself is just as false as the world that you have established outside yourself in order to find the correspondence. Remember what we said? That you see only the past. Not only do you see only the past, but the past that you saw was never true. And that's an incredible discovery, because you don't have to go back and analyze and reassociate all of these thought forms that you have in your own mind in order to justify the procedure. Why? The procedure of creative reality is going on all the time. You have nothing to say or do about it. All right? And by not persisting in have anything to say or do about it, you are making a revelatory discovery. And that is that your self-consciousness association with everything about you is continually extending into a bright new reality in which you will joyfully participate in the realization of the happiness that I am offering you in a true reflection of your own mind. The calls we're getting now are up into the thousands. The exciting idea, this is the Course in Miracles, is that the participants are discovering, they're not finding it out in the world. They're beginning the practice of saying, no, first there's got to be an alternative to this, because none of this is real. And suddenly they have an experience of an alternative that they need not identify in the correspondence of their old false self. And that's what I'm offering to you right now. And that's apparently what you've accepted. Is there an explanation that you're going to be able to give to the world about this? What world? Okay, the world was nothing but your misrepresentation of yourself within the idea of the containment of you within this little frame of reference that told you that you had to participate in this world. The idea that the pain and loneliness and loss of the things that you love would be what life is. Remember on the last lesson when I sat with you just for that moment, and I'm going to do it with you right now. This is not life. What you thought was life, this world, was nothing but an invention of your own mind. And the happiness you're expressing now is in the awakening process of you, in the discovery that indeed there is no world. indeed the world that I saw out there that was represented to me within this body form was not true. And that all of time was only the idea that I could be separate in my own mind from the truth of my creative reality. What you learn from me in a very fundamental sense is I am a reflection of the thought forms of your own mind without your need to defend yourself from the light that I am offering you. Is that enveloping you, surrounding you at this moment, as we used to call you children of the light. Surrounding you at this moment is a reaggregation of love and energy, light source that will dissolve instantly if you let it. The body that you have interposed between the offering of my mind in the light of our singular mind and you're determined through your objection of me to organize me in a procedure that justifies the retention of your body, because it's not true. So we're at the point in this mind training where you have determined what? First of all, that the world isn't real. That everything that you have seen had actually nothing to do with reality, but was of your own making and did not exist. We located the source of the problem was in the conflict that you felt in the objections to your own mind that appeared to be out there. By laying down the defenses of your objective self, you saw instantly the alternative of the light of our minds that I am offering you in the solution of Jesus, the one that says we must love each other in order to escape from this world. Remember on video, on this last video, number 5 I said the solution to your problem has to be for us to love each other since we are reflections of our own mind. One thing for sure, if we hate our brother, we hate ourselves. One thing for sure, everything that you see out there that you identify as a stranger is actually a part of your own mind, and this is the entire Christian tradition. As you do to the least of me, you do for me. I was thirsty and you gave me to drink. I was hungry and you fed me. I needed a place to sleep and you offered me a place to sleep. And then that offering was the entirety of you. And the realization of the totality of the participation of our love for each other is what this solution is. I'm going to tell you one more time as we leave here that you are escaping this dream of death through forgiveness and love. Because forgiveness is the action of love in the realization that the association that you've been hating has been yourself. Since there is nothing outside yourself, the aggregation of fear that you felt in the need to identify yourself that then set up a limited parameter of objective associations of the world and caused a conflict that could literally not be resolved because neither side of a split self is real. Neither the cause of you nor the effect of you has anything whatsoever to do with what you really are. So the lessons that we're going to do now in the expression of the wholeness of your mind, let's see, we're going to do 36, 37, 38, perhaps 39, and maybe even 40. And we're going to look at the idea that the envelopment of the light and joy that I feel will be reflected back to me in everything that I see and will require the action of my mind in the blessing that I bestow from the power of God on the certainty that the salvation of the world depends on my blessing. And in the realization that there is nothing that my holiness cannot do. And right in a particular reference, we put an extremely Socratic dialectic lesson that I want you to share with me, and I'm going to talk about it when we come back for a minute. And the reason I want to talk about it is it presents you with a resolution. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? And it deals with the idea that the opposite of guilt, your self-identity, is what heaven is instantly. And the assumption of the responsibility for the guilt or the representation of yourself in this slow time is why you're here. Then you're going to be blessed as the Son of God. And in that blessing that you have offered to your brother will come back to you the certainty that of the love that we share with each other. So as long as we're this far along, let's take a look at lessons 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40 in this miraculous recovery of the experience of the discovery of who you really are. Let's watch together. So here we are. We intend to surround ourself with ourself. Lesson 36. My holiness envelops everything I see. Today's idea extends the idea for yesterday from the perceiver to the perceived. You are holy because your mind is part of God's, and because you are holy, your sight must be holy as well. Sinless means without sin. You cannot be without sin a little. You are sinless or not. If your mind is part of God's, you must be sinless, or a part of his mind would be sinful. Your sight is related to his holiness, not to your ego, and therefore not to your body. Let's try some practice periods. First, close your eyes and repeat the idea for today several times slowly. My holiness envelops everything that I see. Then open your eyes and look quite slowly about you and apply the idea specifically to whatever you note in your casual survey. Let's give it a try. My holiness envelops that rug. Oh, there's that wall. I think that's a part of my holiness. Oh, my holiness envelops these fingers. Look at this. My holiness envelops that chair. My holiness envelops all of me. I think my holiness may even involve the lesson that I'm doing for today. But I know that my holiness must involve everything that I see, because I am in the mind of God. If I am holy, it must be that through God's mind, my holiness blesses the world. This idea contains the first glimmerings of your true function in the world, or why you are here. Your purpose is to see the world through your own holiness. Thus are you and the world blessed together. No one loses. Nothing is taken away from anyone. Everyone gains through your holy vision. It signifies the end of sacrifice because it offers everyone his full due, and he is entitled to everything because it is his birthright as a son of God. There is no other way in which the idea of sacrifice can be removed from the world's thinking. Any other way of seeing will inevitably demand payment of someone or something. As a result, the perceiver will lose, nor will he have any idea why he's losing. Yet is his wholeness restored to his awareness through your vision. Your holiness blesses him by asking nothing of him. Those who see themselves as whole make no demands. Your holiness is the salvation of the world. It lets you teach the world that it is one with you, not by preaching to it, not by telling it anything, but merely by your quiet recognition that in your holiness are all things blessed along with you. So once again, we remember that our holiness envelops us and that our holiness blesses the world. Let's move just for a moment to the action of your holiness. And we will see in Lesson 38 that there is nothing that my holiness cannot do. Your holiness reverses all the laws of the world. It is beyond every restriction of time, space, distance, and limits of any kind. Your holiness is totally unlimited in its power because it establishes you as a son of God, at one with the mind of his Creator. Through your holiness, the power of God is made manifest. Through your holiness, the power of God is made available, and there is nothing the power of God cannot do. Your holiness, then, can remove all pain, can end all sorrow, and can solve all problems. It can do so in connection with yourself and with anyone else. It is equal in its power to help anyone because it is equal in its power to save anyone. If you are holy, so is everything God created. You are holy because all things he created are holy. And all things he created are holy because you are. So in today's exercise, we'll apply the power of your holiness to all problems, difficulties, or suffering in any form that you happen to think of in yourself or in anyone else. We will make no distinctions whatsoever because there are no distinctions. Remember, there is nothing my holiness cannot do because the power of God lies in it. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. The purpose of today's exercise is to begin to instill in you a sense that you have dominion over all things because of what you are. Let's take a glance real quickly at Lesson 39. It's going to say that your holiness is your salvation. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? Like the text for which this workbook was written, the ideas used for the exercises are very simple, they're very clear, and they're totally unambiguous. We are not concerned with intellectual feats nor logical toys. We are dealing only in the very obvious, which has been overlooked in the clouds of complexity in which you think you think. If guilt is hell, what is its opposite? This is not difficult, surely. The hesitation you may feel in answering is not due to the ambiguity of the question, but do you believe that guilt is hell? If you did, you would see at once how direct and simple the text is, and you would not need a workbook at all. No one needs practice to gain what is already his, and this is already yours. We have already said that your holiness is the salvation of the world. What about your own salvation? You cannot give what you don't have. A Savior must be saved. How else can he teach salvation? Today's exercises will apply to you, recognizing that your salvation is crucial to the salvation of the world. As you apply the exercises to your world, the whole world stands to benefit. Your holiness is the answer to every question that was ever asked, is being asked now, or will be asked in the future. Your holiness means the end of guilt, and therefore the end of hell. Your holiness is the salvation of the world and your own. How could you, to whom your holiness belongs, be excluded from it? God does not know unholiness. Can it be he does not know his Son? Begin the practice periods as usual by repeating today's idea to yourself. My holiness is my salvation. Then, with closed eyes, search out your own unloving thoughts in whatever form they appear. Uneasiness, depression, anger, fear, worry, attack, insecurity, and on and on. Whatever form they take, they are unloving and therefore fearful. And so it is from them that you need to be saved. It is imperative for your salvation that you see these things differently. And it is in your blessing on them that will save you, and it will give you the vision that the world is waiting for. So if guilt is hell, what is its opposite? And it will soon appear to you that its opposite is heaven. And you will now recognize that in your holiness is your salvation and the salvation of the world. Now that we have a firm understanding of the difference between hell and heaven, which is actually the difference between guilt and innocence, let's relax just a moment with Lesson 40. I am blessed as a son of God. Today we will begin to assert some of the happy things to which you are entitled, being what you are. There aren't going to be any long practice periods today, but very frequent short ones are necessary. Once every 10 minutes would be highly desirable, and you are urged to attempt this schedule and to adhere to it whenever possible. If you forget, try again. If there are long interruptions, try again. Whenever you remember, try again. Close your eyes and begin to practice. I am blessed as a son of God. And you might want to just take a look at how far you've come now in this practice of the change of your mind. Begin to realize how happy it has made you and how peaceful you are discovering in these little alternative moments that you spend with God in a transition to a real world, and how loving you have become, and how content you are, and how calm you are and quiet, and the assurance and confidence that is growing in you now in the privacy of your heart and mind as you discover that you are blessed as a son of God. So these are the holiness lessons. I'm going to sit with you for a minute. The offering that I've given you is a wholeness of your own mind, and you call it holiness. And Crystal on the camera said that I was looking down at the cue cards because I needed to know the lessons that I was going to teach, like my holiness blesses the world. There is nothing my holiness cannot do. Now I try with you. My holiness blesses the world. There is nothing that our holiness together cannot do. Okay, do you see that? This is a confession of the love that I feel for you through the releases of my defenses of guilt in order to retain my own self-identity. The practice that has given you this incredibly miraculous solution that is occurring right here in our minds together is the certainty that in the action of the forgiveness of your objective self, okay, had to be the entirety of the solution to your problem. We want to look at it together for a minute in the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Remember when we talked about that, or the idea of time travel? The simple truth of the matter is it would be impossible for you to travel to the universe because you are in a retention of an enclosure of your objective association with yourself and are, can I use a term here, totally non-communicative. The basis of this teaching has been to open a channel, a recognition of light within your own mind where you can see the particulars of the evidence of where you were are not true. It's called sin, isn't it? Remember the video I did on the Aramaic word for sin is kata, as Jesus is smiling. Kata means you're off the mark. It's an archery term for you're off the center of the moment of your coming into this place and leaving. Now, your fear of the center of the place of the devastation should be very obvious to you. And in a particular sense, the more light that I offer you within your objective association of yourself, the more fearful you're going to become. How could you not? This course has led you to a fearful place and time where the moment of the loss of heaven, the moment of the loss of your identity of who you are occurred. In the practice of this Course in Miracles, you have let enough light come into your procedural observation of yourself to see a new you that is emerging in the objective identities that you have given yourself that have corresponded to the little limitations of the frame of reference that has enveloped you. In the lessons that you just watched, instead of reflecting back the falsity of you in slow time, you have allowed yourself for that moment to descend in to a complete alternative, which immediately exposed to you another identity within the space-time, within the idea of a speed of light, that will make you happy, since it's an escape from the self-imposed judgment of yourself in what we call slow time. The idea that this is working and that you, right there, okay, are saying to me, I am having an experience of you within my mind, will make me very happy. The fundamental admission of what you term me, and I'm acting as a tutor for you in your teaching process, could not be anything but to show you your own self. Now, the certainty that there is one self and that myself is the entirety of the creative reality of universal mind need not be in the particulars of your own aggregation. But this is necessary. If you continue to reflect back to yourself your historic reference of what you think this so-called master teacher is, you cannot not get the result of the objectification of the dark forms that show you the fear that you actually have of who you are. The fear of God. And as we pointed out in the last video, the idea that you would actually be afraid, okay, of God. The idea that you would express within this little containment of yourself the fear of God has become senseless to you. So we're going to practice this miracle mind for just a moment, and I am there. I'm going to show you within your own mind a reflection of you that's going to make you very happy. And you're going to go out into the world and you're going to say, I'm happy. And the objective associations that you previously formulated in your own mind are going to say, what are you happy about? And you're going to say, I'm happy because within myself I've discovered a new me. Okay, I have escaped from the bondage of the idea that you or this world in any particulars could tell me who I am. And in that escape from the idea of reciprocity, the idea of an eye for an eye, the idea of getting even, the idea of the revenge that I'm going to exact from you in order to feel the satisfaction of the continuation of my need to defy eternal love. That pretty much loved me. And they pretty much loved you. The question, why not unconditional love, has arisen in your mind through an act or an experience of the unconditionality of the extension of eternal love and happiness. There's nothing conditional about the eternal creating mind of God. And there's nothing conditional about the love that I'm feeling for you at this moment. It's not based on any conditions of what you thought you were. It's not based on any conditions of the idea of the exchange that we had within time in order to retain this aggregation of sequentiality. The idea that you could come here and be here and represent yourself in objective identity and then get old and die has passed away from you. And suddenly you're standing at the time and the place that heretofore you were fearful of entering into. I'm going to show you a 2-minute clip from the text of A Course in Miracles. This will take just a moment. It lasts for a moment. But it's going to point out to you what's actually occurred to you in this reference of really being willing at this time and place to come to this point that you had previously rejected. Watch this. This is exciting. Look how far you've come and how close you are. Remember that to look upon the fear of God does need some preparation. Only the sane can look on stark insanity and raving madness with pity and compassion, but not with fear. This is the place to which everyone must come when he is ready, nor is it possible to look on this too soon. Stand you here a while and tremble not. You will be ready. Let us join together in a holy instant. Here, with the journey's end before you, you see its purpose, and it is here you choose whether to look upon it or wander on, only to return and make the choice again. Are you with me now? It seems to you the world will utterly abandon you if you but raise your eyes. Yet all that will occur is you will leave the world forever. This is the reestablishment of your will. Look upon it open-eyed, and you will never more believe that you are at the mercy of things beyond you, forces you cannot control, and thoughts that come to you against your will. It is your will to look on this. No mad desire, no trivial impulse to forget again, no stab of fear, nor the cold sweat of seeming death can stand against your will. For what attracts you from beyond the veil is also deep within you, unseparated from it, and completely one. Okay, now you're at that point. And instead of being fearful, you're beginning to express happiness. Do you see what's happened to you? This is the one point in space-time that you had absolutely no intention of ever entering. Okay, you call it the inner sanctum of fear. I call it, in my mind, the inner sanctum of joy and happiness. Within your own mind, the spot that you were afraid to go to because it would reveal to you all of the horrible associations that you had with yourself, the fire and brimstone, your condemnation to eternal hell. What nonsense. Okay. Your guilt, remember the lesson? Your guilt was what hell was. the idea within your own self that you could be separate from love and the eternity of the joy that you're now sharing. Okay. It's interesting to admit that you have come to this place before. But each time the fear so overwhelmed you, remember the expressions of despondency, even unto death, the idea of a Garden of Gethsemane where everybody deserts you, the idea of a dark night of a soul, the idea of a suicidal intent where there is no solution to the problem. If you'll share this with me, that's actually the point that you're at right now. Through the practice of this course, you're releasing the defenses of your own attack mode, and you're standing within the circle of at-one-ment where the joy of you, okay, in the invitation to your own objective associations, the identities that are out there that previously represented you are now being, in a literal sense, invited by you to enter into this envelopment of this circle of light. Where are you standing? At a place that you never intended to aggregate. You were taught to aggregate just east of Eden. A little biblical there. Somehow you got outside the garden and you're in your sleep. You've fallen asleep, as we would say with Adam. So you're asleep in a dream of death, and the Eden, the certainty of who you are and coming here, has not been available to you. This course, through my mind, has made it available to you because of my refusal to participate in your dream of death whatsoever. How did I discover it? I discovered through this course the non-necessity for me to participate in the continuing activity of my objective mind. And that was based on the obvious idea that all of the solutions that have been formulated by this world, okay, in the idea that you could actually be separate from eternal life, are what have held you in the bondage of that. Now, we're going to show you in just a moment one more lesson. It's going to be lesson 41. It's going to be the answer to all of the problems that you could ever have. And it's going to say very simply, God goes with me wherever I go. It's going to say that the separate ones, and you were a separate one, weren't you? The separate ones have invented many cures for the idea that they could retain, you right there, could retain your own separation in your dream of death, and finally you've just gotten tired of it. And while you could not conceptually understand that God went with you wherever you go, you could admit to the possibility that the light that has become available to you will show you that at the moment of terror, at the moment of death, eternal life, eternal reality will become a whole part of you. The idea of this experience of physical resurrection. This is what I'm describing to you, right? I'm describing a molecular association of energy that will define you in a broader range of what you term light. Obviously, your idea of light within the illusion of your very limited conceptual self was a range of visible light that corresponded to about 4% of the actual energy of the light that through the release of the fear of yourself, you are now being experienced. So let's look for just a moment at my certainty and the certainty of the universe that God goes with us wherever we go. And now here's a key lesson 41. God goes with me wherever I go. Today's idea will eventually overcome completely the sense of loneliness and abandonment all the separate ones experience. Depression is an inevitable consequence of separation. So are anxiety, worry, a deep sense of helplessness, misery, suffering, and intense fear of loss. The separate ones have invented many cures for what they believe to be the ills of the world. But the one thing they do not do is to question the reality of the problem. Yet its effects cannot be cured because the problem is not real. The idea for today has the power to end all this foolishness forever, and foolishness it is, despite the serious and tragic forms it may take. Deep within you is everything that is perfect, ready to radiate through you and out into the world. It will cure all sorrow and pain and fear and loss, because it will heal the mind that thought these things were real and suffered out of its allegiance to them. Listen, you can never be deprived of your perfect holiness because its source goes with you wherever you go. You can never suffer because the source of all joy goes with you wherever you go. You can never be alone because the source of all life goes with you wherever you go. Nothing can destroy your peace of mind because God goes with you wherever you go. At last, you're starting to believe. The truth was hidden deep within, under a heavy cloud of insane thoughts, dense and obscuring, yet representing all that you see. Today, now at last, we're going to go beyond and make our first real attempt to get past this dark and heavy cloud and to go through it into the light beyond. Most of all, try to sink down and inward, away from the world and all the foolish thoughts of the world. You are trying to reach past all of these things. You are trying to leave appearances and approach reality. It is quite possible to reach God. In fact, it is very easy because it is the most natural thing in the world. You might even say it's the only natural thing in the world. The way will open if you believe that it is possible. This exercise can bring very startling results even the first time it's attempted. And sooner or later, it's always successful, and it's beginning to work in you now. So God, in the joy and happiness you're feeling, goes with you wherever you go. Remember where it said that the separate ones have invented many cures for the dilemma of the pain and death that they experience within themselves. But the one thing up until now that you were not willing to examine was the entirety of the unreality of the entirety of it. The joy that you're feeling at the certainty that I am offering you from my illuminate mind that this world and place are not real. Okay, the mere idea that you would entertain this cannot not give you the solution, because the problem was only contained in your little limited self and the manner in which you had previously identified yourself. We're going to take these last few minutes now, and I'm going to, just for this moment, if you'll let me, represent my certainty of you. My certainty of who you are cannot not be my certainty of who I am. I want you to begin to feel, the extension of my mind. What has Jesus taught you? If your eye be single, your whole body will be light. If you'll open up the channel, this is a common procedure within the meditative techniques of the Eastern traditions, that you can undergo an experience of enlightenment based on a singularity of the recognition of yourself. That one-eyedness that I am offering you is your willingness to let your conceptual self, what does Jesus say about that? Be concerned about the beam in your eye, not the splendor that you see in your brother. Did you see that right there? Okay, just for a moment, you've let the beam go. All of the splendors of your conceptual association collapse in for a moment. You don't resist your own objective self-identity, and you feel the happiness of the light that's all around you. And you are feeling it. And the joy that I'm experiencing out of our aggregation of love, aggregation of the idea that we can share a moment of a single source of reality, containing what? The confession that we were separate, the determination that we were responsible and had participated in the moment of separation, guilt, and the idea that the alternative we searched for was not concerned within the moment or concerned with or in the moment of separation, but in this solution. So thank you for accepting this extension of my mind to yours. It'll make you very happy. And that moment right there that you're feeling will never leave you. Remember the fundamental teaching? Okay. All the thoughts that you have ever had are still with you. Nothing has ever really left you. If you have thoughts of fear, they were going to stay with you until you convert the organizational procedure of your objective mind to thoughts of love. I am offering you thoughts of love because I don't know what else to do. I'm going to have to be who I am, whether this world recognizes me or not. One thing I know for sure, my eternal Creator does not recognize this world. And in his non-recognition of my guilt and pain was the solution offered me by my Savior Jesus. And it's the one that I'm offering to you. The salvation of the world, then, depends on you because you have invented the world in your own mind. And the change now of who you thought you were has revealed to you a blessing of love and forgiveness that you can bestow on the characters of your own dream, and how long they've waited for you to change your mind, how long they've depended on you in this moment of chaos to decide you've had enough, and to invite us all to come in and sit together with the relief that we're going to stay just for a moment at this time and place that it all happened. And then this world will disappear into the nothingness that it is, and it will be no more. And you will have forgotten this dream. And in the moment that you remember it will be the moment of the joy and love that we shared in our escape from the idea that we could be separate, in the escape from this nightmare of death. And now the whole universe is open to us. We are not bodies. We are not confined to this little nitrogen cloud. The idea that we would be confined to the dark forms that justified this separation of past. So I'm going to be with you now, okay, in the finality, okay, in the final act of your returning to heaven. I could have no other purpose to be sharing the mind training of A Course in Miracles from our mind of our Savior Jesus out of time, than to show you individually in your own mind, okay, the conclusion, okay, the second part of the illusion that you were actually separate from eternal life, which is just beyond. Remember that event horizon that we spoke of? Suddenly it disappears because you no longer object to it. And you feel the joy and happiness of this explosion out into the universe. an extension of you that's making you very happy. Our prayer then is, Heavenly Father, I no longer object the idea of the certainty that we share a single life. I thank you for the auspices of your mind that have showed me in this moment of aggregation the certainty of our love for each other. In the moments that are left here, I dedicate myself to the service that I now offer to the objects of my mind to relieve the pain and death, okay, that was evident to us in this place of separation. How may I serve you in the certainty of my love for you? I will give myself away in the certainty that I have given to myself. I will love myself in the certainty that when I love my brother, I love myself. I will become a whole part of the joy and happiness that I am feeling at this moment, in this time, okay, as the entirety of the solution to the idea that this would have been life. We'll see you again in just a moment. We're going to have one more video, maybe two, and they're going to express the last 10 lessons in the workbook, and they're all about God and how to find Him. And they're based on a continuing conversion of the action of your conceptual self. You're not from here. You never were. You were a mistake. Okay? Not sinful, but mistaken. Off the mark of the moment of your true reality. And the light and love that you're going to feel right now and that you're feeling are the certainty of your resolution of the problem. Because God is, and you are a whole part of the creation of this universe. Thank you for the assignment of awakening you from this dream of death. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for letting me be a momentary character in your own objective drama. Because the character that I represent is the totality of your own formulation with yourself, offering you a solution from your dream. Congratulations. You'll be leaving here now with me. And in that moment will be the realization that you were never here. We'll be meeting each other again, and the joy of that meeting will be to express what we're experiencing now. And that's the certainty of the solution. This place of death and sorrow and loneliness and loss of the things that we love is just going to disappear in the illusion, okay, that we could possibly not be an entirety of the love of creative reality. I'll see you in a moment. How wonderful to see you again. How happy I am that that moment of separation has passed away.